DIYers, say what's going on, Whiteboards with the Whiteboards channel. Thank you for watching. We're talking boat drain plugs, the one all the way at the back of the boat and down at the bottom portion of the hull. We're going to remove that drain plug, clean everything up, and put it all back together with fresh new silicone sealant. Let's get started. Making our way out to the garage. In front of us now is our 1989 Glassport speedboat. It's a 16-foot, and down below in the comments and description will be a link to our playlist. DIYers, included in that playlist a lot of helpful videos, including replacing the rims and tires. Let's come to the back, where we have an Alpha 1 Gen 1 fully rebuilt, top to bottom, everything in between. However, coming down just beneath the anode, there is our drain plug. It has 3 screws. I have removed the plug itself, and we're going to replace that. This has not been worked on since 1989, and as you can see, the seal around the entire plug housing is in bad shape. Long story short, letting a little bit of water inside the bottom of the hull over time. Camera position, again, we've got 3 Phillips screws. We're going to carefully remove those. DIYers, don't rush anything. Don't go fast, go slow. Be precise as you do this. And don't use power tools. That's my recommendation. And because these are screws, there will not be nuts on the opposite or inner side. They're just screws. About an inch long. With the screws removed, you might be able to pull out on the plug, but because of the sealant, it'll make it a little tough. The last thing you want to do is grab the wrong tool and gouge or scrape or scratch your fiberglass hull. And with that said, next I grabbed a mini scraper, and all I want to do is ever so carefully create a cut in the sealant at the seam where the plug meets the hull or mates with the hull. Go slow, do not rush this, you don't want to scratch anything. You just want to create that cut. And I'm going to begin separating that plug housing from the hull. And again, go slow. There it is. From here, I want to point out the actual silicone inside or behind this portion. There is a little indent or space behind the rim or outer ring that the sealant will be placed when it's time to put everything back together. And that helps create an immense seal to keep water out. From here, ever so carefully, just going to begin removing as much of this silicone as I can without damaging or scraping the hull. Again, this has not ever been addressed since 1989 when it left the manufacturer. As you can see, there is still a fine layer of silicone, and I want all that off. Next, I'm going to apply some Goo Gone to a paper towel and clean as much of this surface as I can. DIY, stay away from acetone or lacquer thinner. You don't want to damage your gel coat. And again, just a little bit on a paper towel. Next, a wet paper towel, and just removing that Goo Gone, and I'm going to allow this to dry. Next to a close-up view, and I got as much of it as I could. And from here, we're just going to allow it to dry for about an hour. And in the meantime, we'll move on and show you the sealant that we recommend. Inside to the workbench, and coming to the left, here is the marine silicone sealant, and coming all the way down to the bottom, as you can see, for use above and below the waterline as a gasketing material under compression. DIYers, that's extremely important. Don't buy a silicone sealant that is not approved or designed for underwater. In addition, down below in the comments and description will be a link on where to purchase this sealant, as well as brand new replacement plugs. And this is a 2-inch. However, the brand new one, stainless steel, we are using on a different boat. We are going to basically install, after cleaning up, make sure you clean up the screw holes if you plan on removing and using your existing or original drain plug and kit or housing. In addition, I always, no ifs, ands, buts about it, apply Teflon tape to the thread of the plug itself. So again, we are using the old one we just removed, and the one to the right is to a different boat. Next, what I did was remove the cap, puncture the seal, and insert the little needle nose style tip. And I want to point out that I cut it at an angle, about a 45-degree angle. And from here, I'm going to again bring the old plug kit housing, and I am going to silicone all inside this little lip and slightly up the rim here, as well as a little bit inside these screw holes. You don't want to overdo it, but you definitely want enough on there to create a seal. From here, as you can see, I did not overdo it, but I've got a good chunk on there. From here, we'll allow this to kind of get tacky over the next 5 minutes, and then we will insert this and secure it with these screws. And as you press this in place, you will see the sealant come out, or that's your hope, because if no sealant comes out as you press this flush with the hull, you might not have added enough. Back to the boat, and again, just double check that the hull is dry and there's no debris. And I'm going to ever so slowly bring the plug and insert it inside the hole. And turn it until it can go in. There is a little nodule. Carefully push it flush, and you will see some of the sealant coming out of the holes. And because of that, we are not going to apply any sealant to the thread of the screws. And push it pretty firmly. From here, insert the screw. We'll start with the top. And do not over tighten these. That would be terrible. Do not tighten them all the way until you have inserted and screwed in all 3 screws, and then we'll go back and tighten them all. From here, we are going to go screw to screw and carefully tighten them. And as we do that, you will see the sealant begin to press out, and that will create the caulk or sealant bead that we need. And then we'll use our finger to finalize the bead and ultimately create the watertight seal. Again, do not over tighten those screws. You don't want to strip them. However, next I've got a wet paper towel. I'm going to dampen my fingertip and create the bead. Alright DIYers, after you finalize that bead and create that watertight seal, you need to allow it to cure for 24 hours. In other words, do yourself a favor and do not put the boat in the water before 24 hours has expired.